I mean, I will lose my S watching this tonight. If I see Phillip Rivers just with this captain check down all night long.
This is Papa and Silver on KNBR, the sports leader.
I mean, come on. Can we introduce it any better than that? Look at this guy in the middle of our stream. Larry Krueger just did 4 hours with Dieter, and now he's hanging out with Papa and Silver. Krug, it's good to see you. Look, we got the band back together in Daly City. Merry Christmas to all, but especially us, because it revolves around us at the Sports Leader, and I'm totally selfish and unapologetic about that, just like I'm selfish about our Monday segments, even when you're doing 4 hours before. So thanks for coming by. It's good to see you.
My guys, good to see you guys. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. Or I could be like Ralph, Ralph, I miss Ralph, but Ralph used to have endless vacation, right? So he would sign off for Christmas on like December 2nd, but he wouldn't do it quietly. He'd be like walking around the bullpen area, it's my last day. I'm good to see you, all that stuff. And then he'd get on the mic, and I used to joke Tolbert about it because he'd be like, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. He'd go through like 19 different things.
Festivus, don't forget Festivus.
Festivus for the rest of us. And Tommy, I'm going to miss you. And, oh my God. It's like, Ralph, it's December 3rd. It's like, I got a lot of built-up vacation.
You think he was the type where, like, Halloween happens and he's immediately going to Christmas music? He's just busting out the CDs right when it hits November because he took such an early Christmas?
Oh, Ralph. Ralph he was my hero, man. I love that guy. I miss him. He was an awesome host, for years and years and years. And I did many, many, many face-offs with him. You'd be like, Krug, you're so cute. You get mad about the Giants and Sonny Jackson, and
you do a good Ralph. You got him down.
It's funny too. One time, Ralph, we had kids basically at the same age, right? He had Tate, and right when I had Anna, my first, and so he had taken Tate to Disneyland, and he's like, I told him that we were going to Disneyland. We're taking Anna to Disneyland, and he's like, oh, I got to tell you all about it. He leaves me a 6, we had voicemail at KNBR back in the day, 6 voicemails that went, boop, your time's up. So I came in, I told Agnew, I'm like, Barbieri just gave me a 6 voicemail thing. And he's like, oh, we got to tell Sal. And by the way, it's happy birthday to Tony Salvador. Today's his birthday. But Agnew runs down the hall. He's like, Krueger. And he goes, Sal, Barbieri gave Krueger a 6-bagger on the voicemail. And here comes Sal hobbling down the hall. I got to hear it. So I played them all. Krug, if you're in Toontown, you got to work from back to front. You can't go from front to back. He was giving me all these, how to navigate Disneyland. Oh, it's classic. And Salvador thought that was the funniest thing that Ralph had given me 6 different voicemails about how to navigate Disneyland.
I think the over/under to be like 9 for Ralph, so I think he got off light that it was only 6. So kind of like a question he would ask. We go, how did it. But and we did text the Godfather, the great Tony Salvador, 82 years of age, and going strong, and he battled. Yeah. He battled a stage 4 cancer a few years ago and got through it. So Tony has been one of the best of all time. So I could hear you. I could hear you go on and on. Do Ralph's voice over and over again. But we're not taking December off. We're not taking January off. We're not taking anything off until probably Valentine's Day, when hopefully this team plays a Super Bowl and we have a parade and all that. So just give me your thoughts on what do you think the structure of the defense is going to be tonight? Tatum Bethune is going to come back tonight. He's going to wear the green dot. He's going to play at Mike linebacker. I am hearing that they're going to probably activate Eric Kendricks and get him on the field tonight. Would that just be a 3-linebacker package? You're not going to touch D. Winters, although Eric has worn that green dot most of his career. So would that pick Kendricks in a Luke Gifford role, which would just be when you're playing base, the strong side Sam linebacker position, and then they got to. If he's going to be up on game day and not be a starting linebacker and play only base snaps, he's going to have to play on special teams. So how do you think they're going to line up at off-the-ball linebacker tonight, Krug's?
Yeah, I talked to Bethune in the locker room on Thursday. I guess it was Friday. And And, he's fired up. Oh, Greg, he is so fired up. I mean, he had the high ankle sprain, but, his body was getting banged up, shoulder and, all kinds of different things, all kinds of little maladies that he had. But now this week, these weeks off to rest the ankle, I think have made him fresher, and he's like fired up for Monday Night Football. So I think you're going to see a lot of Tatum Bethune. Now, Kendricks, I think, is interesting because I think Kendricks was brought back to play from scrimmage. It'll be interesting to see, is Wallow going to be called off the practice squad? Is he going to be, because he's the guy that's really more of the career special teamer, where Kendricks really has not had a lot of run at special teams. Also, Kendricks a year ago was really, really a liability in pass coverage. He's still very good against the run, but I mean, maybe more of a first and second down run defender. And then the other big question is Yatir Gross-Matos. Gross-Matos is questionable. He's probably the Niners' best interior rusher. And, does he get called up today? I mean, he's an impact guy, and they really love him and would love to see him get back out there. But, the good news is with Jonathan Taylor is that it's almost been a tale of two seasons. He was averaging, 6 yards a carry in the first 10 weeks of the year, best in the league. He's averaged 3.6 yards per carry since that point, and that ranks 42nd in the league. So the numbers are daunting. He's got 4.3 speed. He's a legitimate 225 pounds. It's going to be a huge challenge, but he's not quite rumbling like he was early in the year.
Krug, I know we all want to lose our S over Phillip Rivers and maybe him checking it down versus not, but I think my bigger concern, as we broke it down in the playbook last week, is the 49ers doing a better job of setting the edge against this rushing attack. So how can they do a better job of improving against the edge against Jonathan Taylor and this Colts rushing attack?
Well, I mean, first of all, the Colts are not going to have either of their starting tackles in the game. Ryman, there was some talk that Ryman maybe could be ready to go, but he's not ready to go. So, so that's an advantage. I mean, Sam O, we haven't mentioned him, but Sam O's getting back into the mix, and Sam O is a phenomenal edge setting rusher at 270 pounds at 6'1". Keon White, I think, is going to be a key factor. I love the way Keon White's playing. To me, that was the great pickup that Lynch made that we haven't really talked that much about, because White is in his physical prime. He's a perfect scheme fit. He's absolutely thrilled to be here. He's fresh because he had barely played in New England. And every game that goes by, he gets a little bit better, a little bit more of an all-around player against the run, against the pass. I think Sam O and Keon White are going to have a lot to say about setting edges tonight.
And Gross-Matos certainly in the base can play outside, and hopefully he'll be up for the game. So we're wondering about a lot of these guys and what role they're going to have in a reconfigured 49er front, Larry. But one thing we do know, Renardo Green's not playing tonight. He's got this neck injury, and I still go back to the double move last week against Van Jefferson on the Van Go route, the slant and go, and how he bid on that. And I think there was some thought of maybe just making a natural non-injury change and playing Darrell Luter Jr. more. Now it's going to be forced because of an injury. So it'll be interesting to me to see what Phillip Rivers does tonight with fresh meat out there. Now, they're all fresh meat to him. He hasn't played in 5 years. But Darrell Luter and their coaching staff and Steichen and Jim Bob Cooter are going to look at attacking Darrell Luter. Just give me your thoughts on that. And we know where he'll be. Demo's at left cornerback on the offensive right, and Darrell will be on the other side on the left of the offense at right cornerback. And I know there were a lot of check down throws and at the line of scrimmage by Rivers last week in Seattle, Larry, but by far the best throw he made was the back shoulder on the last drive of the game to Alec Pierce, where he hit that throw in perfect timing, and he stuck that and got him in field goal range to make the big kick to take the lead. So what do you think of Luter, and what do you think about Rivers maybe in certain situations tonight, because he's had more time to work with these wide receivers, driving the ball downfield more tonight than he did against the Seahawks?
Well, I don't know that you could do it less, right? He really was captain Checkdown last week. And he's a very smart player. That Robert Saleh is going to have his defense ready to take away his first look, his first read, everything underneath. They probably will play that aggressively. Now, they've got some good receivers. They go 11 personnel with 3 wides quite often. They're in that about 74% of the time. Downs has got some speed. Pierce and Pittman are bigger bodied guys, but they got great ball skills. And I would imagine that Robert Saleh is gonna be super aggressive and almost dare Phillip Rivers to challenge him down the field. And I think that's probably the right play. There's 2 guys that are going to be big factors in this game tonight. One is Jalen Travis, and another guy's a guy by the name of Luke Tenuta. And these are the 2 starting tackles for the Colts. And neither of those guys, Tenuta's making his first start ever. And Travis made his first start ever, I think, last week. So they're not, these are not, seasoned veterans. These are brand new players. And I would imagine it's going to be take away that first read and make Phillip, drive the ball a little bit further down the field. I think you got to take away the hot routes. I think you got to anticipate, short. As far as Luter for Green, the downside is maybe a little bit of the coverage ability. The upside is Luter's a bigger bodied, better run defender. The corners, we saw it for years and years with Emmanuel Mosley. The corners can have a big say in the run defense if they're aggressive enough. And Luter is a big-bodied, rangy, long-armed, 33-inch arm guy who's used to playing a lot of press man. He's used to, a lot of force in his game. So he's ready to roll. He knows the defense. He's absolutely knows this defense as well as any of those guys. He's been in it long enough. I expect him to be a factor against the run, and maybe he'll be the guy that they try to pick on in the pass game.
Talking to Larry Krueger here, a few more minutes as we get you ready for Monday Night Football. We've talked so much over the years about Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey as these chess pieces for Kyle Shanahan. Entirely different type of player, but another chess piece is Tyler Warren, the rookie tight end that we're going to see tonight for Indianapolis. So his numbers have dropped since Jones originally got hurt, even before the Achilles. But what are you looking for as to how to keep the big number 84 in check?
Well, he's a tremendous player, and I would say they didn't go to him a lot last week. I mean, they didn't connect with him a lot, and I would expect him to be a major factor. The Niners struggled last week against Gunnar Helm. Gunnar Helm caught that touchdown pass. The Niners have struggled at times to defend the tight end. This is the next guy. This is going to be the next guy. Now there's Loveland and there's other guys, but this is the guy. He's like a baby version of Gronkowski. He's a gigantic body, rare hand-eye coordination. At Penn State they did it all, right? The direct snap wildcat to the tight end and all kinds of stuff around the line of scrimmage. And yet he's a force on the line of scrimmage as a blocker. He moves people in the run game. So he's an absolute monster. And how the Niners cover him. Now I like the matchup with Pinnock. I think Pinnock, has some ability to impact the tight end, which is I think why you're seeing him out there more. But Tyler Warren, especially in the red zone, and especially on key third downs, is going to be the guy that you want to take away.
Yeah, you mentioned that they do run 11 personnel 74% of the time, so you're going to be in your nickel tonight. And you mentioned Pinnock. I think this is more of a big nickel game because of those 2 big wide receivers, Pittman and Pierce, and then also matching up with the rookie Warren, and also they've got Mo Alley Cox, who can be a good receiving threat and a good inline blocker as a tight end. So we'll see how the Niners, which nickel package they match up with, and maybe they'll just go more base. We'll see if Eric Hendricks has a role. On the other side of it, not having Ricky Pearsall, Larry, what do you think that does to the wide receiver deployment tonight? We know Jawan Jennings is going to be out there at X wide receiver mostly, and he can move around. He can take some of the Z snaps for Ricky or go in the slot. But when they go 2 and 3 wide receivers between Demarcus Robinson, Kendrick Bourne, Sky Moore, does Jordan Watkins get in the uniform tonight? What do you think they do without Ricky at second and third wide receiver?
Well, the beautiful part here is that they're very, very deep here. I mean, Bourne has had a couple 100-yard days, and then he's just been kind of waiting around for his turn. I mean, they've been featuring Jennings a ton, probably because of the incentives in his deal, but he's awesome. Jennings, has been fantastic. I mean, he's a touchdown scoring machine. He makes big catches, but they've underutilized Demarcus Robinson. I was talking to Demarcus after the game the other day, and I mentioned to him, I'm like, hey, man, they're not using you the way the Rams used you. I go, your best thing is these rub routes and these goal line routes and these red zone routes. And he's like, I know, man. He's like, but I'm not going to complain because we got, we're winning and we've got the Niners are scoring at their red zone touchdown rate is absolutely phenomenal this year. So they have an abundance of riches, but I think you're going to see Robinson featured more inside the 25, and I think you're going to see Bourne featured more outside the 25. I'd love to see Sky Moore. I'd love to see Jordan Watkins, who scored 9 touchdowns for Ole Miss in the SEC last year. And I really do believe that Watkins, when he gets out there, is going to make us all go, where has this guy been? Because he's that impressive. I'd love to see an end around to him. I mean, they ran end arounds to Debo when he couldn't get around the end. Here's a guy with 4.37 speed, and actually he's got some heft. And I'd love to see some end arounds to Jordan Watkins. But my guess is, just from Kubiak's commentary when we got a chance to talk to him, is that they're waiting on Watkins. They're very conservative with their usage of him. They could use Sky Moore, but look for Bourne and DeMarcus to fill the shoes of Pearsall.
Well, speaking of Jordan Watkins, I was thinking of you yesterday, watching your guy Corey Kiner for the second straight week get some run for Arizona as their season's just kind of circling the drain at this point. But he was a fun preseason watch, and now he's over on the other side of the NFC West.
I didn't even see him. He was with Minnesota on their practice squad. Did he suit up yesterday for Arizona?
He did, yeah. He was getting run when they were running a couple of 2 back sets.
There it is, yeah. 5.3 a carry for Corey Kiner, 6 carries for 32 yards. Yeah, I like Corey Kiner, man. I mean, I really do. I compared him to a poor man's Emmitt Smith, and I've got people throwing that at me left and right. But I mean, obviously a very poor man. But Corey Kiner has just got tremendous heart, and I really was not happy seeing him get out the door. And I believe in his game. He's got a lot of game.
Well, the Niners liked him when they brought him in. I thought he was going to be somebody we'd see a lot in August football, but they gave the ball to Michael Carter a lot yesterday, and Atlanta was able to hold off Arizona and win that game. So just watching football, that's the great thing about the Niners playing on Monday Night Football. We can watch Thursday. We had a couple of games on Saturday. The Thursday night game was one for the ages, and we were rooting hard for Seattle. What a game. Philadelphia looks to be getting a little better, but they did it against the Raiders and Washington in back-to-back weeks. The Bears don't do anything offensively until the 2-minute warning in the fourth quarter. Then they, a half roll to the right and an over route to DJ Moore, and they win the game. Carolina and Tampa Bay both look beatable. Tampa's just not the same team we saw on October the 12th. The quarterback's not the same, and we'll see. They're going to meet in a couple of weeks, and this one's going to be on the pirate ship. But just looking at the NFC, and what you saw from yesterday football, the Lions are nearly eliminated. I'd like them to be completely exterminated. But just what did you see as far as the Niners competition in the NFC from Thursday to last night?
Well, I mean, Greg, it's a week-to-week league. And I think if we, you just got to be, we all got to be current with this stuff. I mean, and when I say current, you got to be current like week to week. You got to know who's up and who's playing. Like, give you an example. I think of Detroit as a phenomenal running football team. And last night or yesterday against the Steelers, with David Montgomery playing, with Jahmyr Gibbs playing, they couldn't run it all. Could not run it at all. 1.3 a carry. Jahmyr Gibbs was 0.3 yards per carry, 7 carries for 2 yards. So, they tried to get Ragnow. They lost. They tried to get him back. They couldn't. Their offensive line's not the same. They lost Brian Branch. So, you got to keep track of who's on these teams and who's, what teams have lost which players. And so, yeah, I mean, I think, a month ago, I thought Detroit was one of the best teams. When I saw Detroit beat Baltimore, I thought, oh, my God, the Lions are going to do it. They're going to win it all. And since that point, they got hurt, and so they're not a team anymore. The Bears are scary in that they can run it, but I think you can run it on the Bears. And, I feel great about where the 49ers are at. They've beaten Seattle in Seattle. They've beaten the Rams in LA. They've beaten the Panthers, who are now look like in the playoffs over the Buccaneers for the moment. They can beat Green Bay. I think they can beat Chicago. They can beat Philly. So bring it on. I feel really good about this situation. I mean, the Niners should have gotten it done a couple times. They didn't. This team's not as good as those teams, but you know what? Things are starting to kind of look really, really good. And I'll just say this from being in the room. There is a resolve and a seriousness to the core of this team that I've never seen before. Between Kittle, CMC, Demo, Trent Williams, Jake Brendel, Colton McKivitz. These guys know that they got a real shot to win the bowl this year, and they are absolutely going to fire in the playoffs. I don't think there's any question about that.
Got to take advantage of the opportunities in front of you, and all those players you just mentioned, they know that better than most, having been there and nearly getting to the mountaintop. Krug, thanks so much for coming by and getting a little bonus time with us, and I hope for your sake, Phillip Rivers can at least air it down the field, 10, 15 yards a few times for you.
Hey, happy holidays, fellas, to you and your families. And Greg, I am so fired up for the Bears game, brother. I'm so fired up that you're going to be back in the booth. So many people around the Niners, so many of the fans all year long. Hey, say hi to Greg. Give our best to Greg. Man, you're not alone in this. Everybody wants to see you, make an incredible comeback. And I can't wait to hear you next week, brother.
Thank you, brother. I wanted to give you a big hug today, but I'll wait to give it to you when I see you at Levi's this week or on Sunday. But what a Christmas gift this is for me to be able to come back and do what I love. And hear Larry Krueger do the best Ralph Barbieri impersonation I've heard in years.
Vis-a-vis my Miata.
Vis-a-vis. So good.
Ergo. The 49ers are going to stop the run. Ergo, they're going to win the game. Tom, pick one, Tom.
Thanks, Krueger, the best.
Later, guys.
Larry Krueger to Joe Buck when we come on back. It's Papa and Silver on the Sports Leader.